sometimes all that matters is what's quickest, and the only way to settle the argument is by actually going head-to-head.
So in this special edition of Fifth Gear, we're going to look back at some of our greatest ever races.
Right, we are going to start big with a world first. It took 2 years to set up, involved 3 champions and 1 very long straight.
We've commandeered London City Airport for the ultimate showdown between car, bike and boat. Only Honda, the biggest engine builder in the world, makes power for all 3, and we've chosen their fastest available motors and leading drivers. At 21, Steve Curtis was the youngest ever Class 1 powerboat world champion, and he's now won it a record-breaking 5 times. Michael Rutter is Honda's #1 in the British Superbike Championship. Earlier this year, he won a road race hitting 201.1 miles an hour, which looks and sounds like this. His Works Fireblade is totally hand-built and literally a £1 million motorcycle. That's how much it costs to lease just for 1 season. At 161 kilograms, it's the lightest of our competitors, but messing up the start could be downright dangerous. Our final competitor is Jenson Button, undoubtedly a future world champion. No expenses spared in the construction of his £5 million car. The only modification his team have made is to slightly raise the ride height, because even an airport runway is bumpy compared to a Grand Prix circuit. We're just about to find out what's fastest, a car, a bike or a boat. It's the best of 3, and this is race 1. Rutter makes a mega start and takes just 5.4 seconds to catch the boat. He finishes the quarter mile in 10 seconds, with Button taking 11 and Curtis 13.5. But Jenson has a problem with his car.
Something wrong with the clutch,
There's a gremlin in the anti-stall system, and the only cure is to turn it off. This time, Button gets a better start and manages to pull away at the halfway point to take the win in 9 seconds. Rutter is 4 tenths behind, with Curtis again clocking 13.5 seconds. Car and bike have a win apiece. Who will win the decider? It was an epic battle, and although level for the first 100 metres, as soon as Button could use full power, he streaked away from a wheeling Rutter, with Curtis again finishing 3 seconds behind. The boat may have more power than the bike, but it's simply too heavy to be a threat. Its top speed of 75 miles an hour is massively quick on water, but even crossing the line at full pelt isn't a big enough advantage. Although in fairness, it is the only one which comes with a warranty. You may have thought with a contact patch the size of a palm, the bike's problem would have been grip. But a super sticky tyre compound meant there was no wheel spin at all. Instead, the big problem is a tendency to wheelie. On one wheel, you can't use full power without flipping over. The team had lengthened the wheelbase by a few millimetres to try and help, but what's really needed is a chassis about 2 feet longer to shift the weight forward and keep the front down. Although the car is 3 times heavier than the bike, it has 4.5 times the power. But at the start, it's even Stevens because the V10 develops most of its grunt at higher revs. At around 100 miles an hour, the aerodynamics take over, pushing the tyres into the ground, allowing Jensen to unleash the full 900 horsepower without fear of wheel spin. To celebrate his win, Jensen kindly demonstrates what would have happened if he'd used full power from the start. His tyres would have been completely overwhelmed.
Still to come, Jason races across Europe against the clock. The ultimate fighter jet takes on the ultimate driver. And a supercar races a superbike.
Welcome back to this special compilation of our favourite head-to-head battles. Sometimes our races aren't against other machines, they're against the clock. And back in 2004, Jason was given what we thought was a challenge with an impossible deadline.
Well, that's it, the end of our mission. All I've got to do now is take it back. But I'll tell you what, it's been one hell of a trip. This is the Ferrari 575 handling GTC, and we're taking it to the Nürburgring. A blast across 5 European countries in just 24 hours to confirm its GT credentials, followed by hot laps of the Grand Prix circuit to test the new handling upgrades. Come and have a look. Right, the differences. First thing you'll notice is the wheels have gone up in size to 19-inch. What that basically means is there's a certain size, there's a maximum size you can get in the wheel arch. So if the wheel rim diameter goes up, therefore the tyre sidewall must come down. Smaller aspect ratio, smaller tyre wall means less deflection when you turn the wheel, sharper steering response. Another big change, which you can't see from the outside, is the springs have gone up 35% on the front axle. Now that's a massive change. If I was to ask my engineer in my race car to go up 10%, he'd question that. So to go up 35 is a big change. The other major change is the rear roll bar, which controls the roll of the car at the rear, has gone up a massive 75%. That's going to make the car much sportier to drive, a very aggressive, racy feel to it. Now, the exhausts, they're half as light, but more importantly, they make more noise. Better appreciation down the boozer, girls will like it more. But the big thing for me is the brakes. If you come in here and have a look, these are carbon ceramic brake discs and pads. Very similar technology that is in Formula One. Which is a good job considering it does 202 miles an hour. And the only car that would let crew and luggage keep up was a 199 mile an hour Scaglietti. So, 2 motors worth 180 grand each, and they're all ours. God bless the insurers. Here we go. In Maranello, Ferrari fans literally line the streets hoping for a glimpse of secret testing. But with 1,000 clicks to cover, we had to head straight for Autostrada 1. We've got to get through northern Italy, the length of Switzerland, skip through France and Luxembourg before hitting Germany. I've been in the car now for an hour, a good hour, and I feel fine. It's very relaxing, it's very quiet inside, it's quite noisy outside, which is quite cool, really. You know, you can waft along serenely along your way whilst showing off to the rest of the world. I quite like that. But do yourself a favour, don't order these. They're absolute garbage. You can't move. Give me a 3-point belt any day. At the first pit stop, the difference between our 2 Ferraris was writ large. A 575 in red attracts an audience within seconds. The subtly coloured 612 is a supercar for the shy, but keeping a low profile has never been my thing, especially when I get to play God with a V12 as great as this one. So, to give you an example of how torquey and powerful this car is, we're 70 mile an hour, third gear. A Actually, let's try fourth gear. Let's give it a little boot. There's 100 already. Oh, hello. Right, now we're going to test the carbon brakes. They're excellent.
After about 3 hours and 150 miles, we could see the Alps. We'd left Italy behind and had arrived in country number 2.
Right, so here we are, 10 o'clock, we're in the middle of Switzerland. I'd like to say we're bombing through, but we're not. We're having a cruise. The police are fairly stiff and strict around here, so we're taking it easy. We've had a couple of near misses with the Rosas, and I don't want to lose my licence. So, it's a good test because we're using this car as we would an everyday car, and it's given us a good opportunity to see what it's like. It's quite warm in here. You've got to have the aircon on all the time. There's a lot of heat coming from the engine. I mean, automatic mode at the moment, and even though I'm not a fan of the semi-automatic gearbox in manual mode, I'd rather have a manual gear stick. It is quite handy to just push the auto button and then just chill and relax. I don't like the seats. These are small seats. They're not very comfortable. They're just a bit hard, and there's not enough adjustment. There's no lumbar support really. Anyway, enough whinging. It's a great car. I'm a lucky guy. Shift down a couple of pegs. Give it some squirt and see you later.
Refuelling was no drama at 70 pence a litre and a surprisingly good 20 to the gallon. We pitched camp across the border in France before getting up with the baguette buyers and invading Luxembourg. Then it was into our 5th and final country, Germany, which means autobahns.
Time to get our foot down. We're doing what? 8 mile now. It's knocking down the 4th. We'll give it some stick. It's 110 already. 130. Glass has got to go on. Need to concentrate. That's 150 miles an hour. It's not easy being me.
Now, you know what it's like. You pull off the motorway and get a bit confused about which direction to head in. But I got my bearings eventually, and we soon found our way to the Nürburgring. There was a Ferrari owners roadshow in town, so it didn't take too much buttering up to secure some precious track time. The 575's handling upgrade is a 16 grand option, the most expensive option in Britain, I reckon, and a third of the customers are specifying it. But is it any good?
150 on the brakes and slow it down. Oh yeah, Tiger. The steering's one of the nicest parts of this car. It's very precise, very accurate, and you can really feel the difference these special Pirelli P0 tyres have made. Bit of understeer in the car, a little bit of mid-corner understeer. This is a bugger of a corner. Now the good thing with this car, once you get on the accelerator pedal mid-corner, providing you're committed, you can put the car from an understeer balance to a slight oversteer balance, which is great, exactly what you want. There we go. Now we like that. One of the things I discovered when I first got in the car, and it's happened every time I drive a Ferrari with an F1 style gearbox. I don't like them. This is quite an improvement on previous models I've driven, but you still have to learn to use the gearbox, particularly on the down change. It's good on an upshift, but the down change, you've still got to manually rev the throttle a little bit just to help it along. That's one of the other benefits of this car, because it's got such a lot of torque, big engine, big horses, you can afford to gear up. So instead of using second and running out of revs halfway through the corner, stick the thing in third and get on the loud pedal, and the torque of the engine just pulls you through. It's great fun. I'm starting to smell the brakes a bit now, though.
Which is probably a good time to stop. There aren't many cars that fit the bill as a grand tourer you can drive to a track day 5 countries away. Adventures like that are something to tell the kids about.
Well, that's it, the end of our mission. All I've got to do now is take it back. But I'll tell you what, it's been one hell of a trip.
See? I told you.
Now, normally, when you race a motorcycle against a motor car, the car's cornering speed gives it an easy win. But Ducati were making big claims about their newest machine, so it's Superbike against Supercar. For the challenge, we put Tiff in Lamborghini's punchy Gallardo and motorbike journo Kevin Smith on Ducati's latest 999. Now, although the Gallardo comes with a V10 that develops 500 brake horsepower and will hit 60 in 4 seconds, the Ducati boasts even better headline figures. At 12 grand, it's 10 times less expensive than the Lambo, and because it has twice the power-to-weight ratio, it's a second quicker to 60. But let's not forget that Kevin has only 2 wheels to corner and brake with, whereas Tiff has 4 fat ones.
Now, the first cars I drove seemed a bit understeery, but this Gallardo's a bit frisky, especially on cold tyres. Once they warm up a bit, it seems to be safer, but at first I've been having a lot of fun with this Gallardo. Over the top, flick it right. Oh, give it some. The only problem with this Lambo, as I found out when I first drove it, is the gears are very tall. So you only use 3 gears, and you need first gear for the hairpin. Really good brakes, that.
Right, enough of the showing off. Time to set a quick lap. Neat and tidy through turn 1. A little drift through Abbott's. A flash of opposite lock through the radar complex. Neat and tidy round the hairpin. Through Douglas Mount View and on to set a lap time of 49.69 seconds. Beat that, biker. Kevin's certainly good at the showboating, but as you can see, it's exceptionally hard to keep the 999's nose down under heavy acceleration. And when going into tighter bends, Kevin has to brake much harder than me. But once out on the straight, his acceleration is truly awesome. When it comes to heavy braking, he can even get the back out. Good boy. Time for the deciding lap. Incredibly, by the radar complex, the bike is 0.18 of a second ahead. But under heavy braking for the hairpin, the gap's dropped to 0.16. Now there's just the high-speed left, right, left of Douglas Mount View to come, and the Ducati catapults out of it to defeat the Lamborghini by 0.44 of a second. There's a rich history of cars racing planes that dates all the way back to the 1930s. But in 2004, the ultimate car versus plane race took place, and we were the only British TV invited along. In the west of Tuscany, if you know where to look, you'll find quite a surprise. Because hidden amongst the cypress trees and sculpted hills is some barbed wire. The perimeter fence to the unlikely home of the Quarto Stormo, a fighter wing of the Italian Air Force. Welcome to Grosseto, no ordinary airbase.
The thing being guarded here above all else is the right to have fun. Impossibly stylish pilots aren't concerned with stealth planes or camouflage. They just paint their jets to look cool. They've even paid tribute to their favourite Ducati, the 999. They all fly under the sign of the Cavallino Rampante. The prancing horse was the symbol of Francesco Baracca, famous fighter ace and family friend of Mr. Enzo Ferrari. Today, the connection goes even further. Hidden in the hangars are 2 Ferrari trucks. They've brought along a Formula 1 car for a very special race.
Not averse to a bit of formation flying themselves, the Ferrari team take playing around very seriously indeed. The car they've brought along today has had a few hush-hush aerodynamic modifications. Power is a closely guarded secret, but rumours of 900 bhp and 230 miles an hour are flying around. You're looking at the very pinnacle of car technology, so what on earth can challenge it in a straight-line drag?
The Eurofighter Typhoon is one of the most complex aircraft ever built. It was developed at a cost of £51 billion. It can fly at twice the speed of sound. Pilots adore the agility. The Eurofighter adores a dogfight. Today's opponent is Red Baron Michael Schumacher, but does he really think he can out-accelerate a fighter jet?
I hope so.
In charge of the Eurofighter will be Chief Combat Test Pilot Lieutenant Colonel Maurizio Caeli. Born in Modena, of course, he's a star of the Italian Air Force, able to fly 50 different types of plane and helicopter, and has logged more than 320 hours in space.
The challenge will be extremely high, but I know my horse in one sense, and I trust it.
It was to be the best of three. Two earlier runs had shown that over 600 metres the car was quickest, and over 1,200 metres the plane had the advantage. So, the grand final, the decider, would be a 900-metre sprint.
Michael will be pleased to know the Eurofighter isn't carrying any weapons. It still weighs 11 tonnes, though, and measures 16 metres long. The Ferrari weighs just 600 kilos and is 4.5 metres long. A 3-litre V12 built by Ferrari themselves against two turbofan engines made partly by Rolls-Royce.
Grosseto held its breath. Halfway, Michael was ahead, but then the afterburners on full reheat immediately took effect. The brand new Eurofighter project had chalked up its first kill. It took the Ferrari 13.2 seconds to cover the 900 metres, but the jet was 0.2 quicker. Michael says the wet tarmac hampered his getaway, but he still managed to hit 190 miles an hour and was leading at 400 metres. But it wasn't enough to hold off the Eurofighter's 40,000 pounds of thrust. Slingshotting the plane past the car, Caeli says he glanced at the clocks and saw 298 miles an hour as he crossed the line.
Still to come, a Panda picks a fight with a Range Rover. And another world first, an F1 car driven by Tiff, racing a road car driven by me. Here's a reminder of the head-to-head challenge we filmed between two American muscle cars, the V10 Viper against the cheaper V8 Corvette. Tiff and Jason came up with 3 hugely unscientific tests to find out which was best, starting with a good old-fashioned drag race. Tiff is in the vet.
Right, less wheel spin, more speed. Oh, well, the flagman twitched. The flagman twitched. We're away! Oh, just too much wheel spin, and he's left me for dead. And we've absolutely destroyed him. No! I want another go. I want another go. I want another go.
Oh no, got too much wheel spin.
But he's got wheel spin, now I've got him, and he's still coming past me.
See you later, Tim. I tell you, this thing's got such grunt.
Another go, Jason, another one more.
Ah, we've got a great start.
He's just laughing. He just laughed. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat it, whatever I do. The Viper wins the 0 to 60.
Next up, a test of handling, which is easier to power slide.
Right. Let's sort this power slide out and see what's what. I tell you what, you're like an octopus in this thing.
Well, neat and tidy. The turning was good. Oversteer all the way through the corner, but I think we need a bit more attitude. Go on, Jason, more lock. Now that's better.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's what I was after. You see, more attitude, more opposite lock, but somehow he's got to hold it out of the corner. That's the difficult bit.
I tell you, one of the problems with this thing is you just have no idea where the absolute limit is. It doesn't give you...
No excuse, just get on with it, will you?
But I can do better than the vet.
He's not bad, is he, for an old one, eh?
The whole thing though about a good power slide is you need to get it big attitude on the way in, nice and sideways, nose pointing at the apex of the corner, and then the trick is hanging on to it for the rest of the corner.
Well, I do think you gave it just that little tad too much. That was really good.
Now that is more like it.
I think it's clear to see the Corvette is better on the limit than the Viper.
Our final test, a quick 3-lap race.
Oh, no, that's...
And I'm away.
Oh, too much, Tim. Oh. If he doesn't get too out of shape, I'm afraid we've got a lost cause here.
He's trying his hardest, and he can't get anywhere near me because down the straights, I'm gone, but in the corners, I'm fully sideways, and there's nowhere for him to get past.
Come here. I can catch you a bit under braking, but those massive, great 14-inch wide tyres, as we come out of the hairpin, they just grip and go. But this little left-right flick, he's not so comfy, and we're back on his tail again.
It doesn't communicate anything through the steering wheel. It doesn't like stopping very much. The gearbox is really notchy, chunky. You know, it feels like he's come out of a truck. I can't believe that the engineers have thought, yeah, this car's great, let's put it to market, because it's just rubbish.
Although there's plenty of rock and roll, the best bit about the Vet's handling is the turn in. It turns in quite well, but of course, as soon as you put all that power down, the rear just breaks traction. But at least you have a bit of confidence on turn in, if not on the way out.
Here we go, we're at the finish. So I'm sorry to be so down on this car, but there is not one thing I like about it. It's just absolute garbage.
The Viper may win the race, but we could never recommend it. So if you want some American muscle, save yourself 30 grand and buy the Vet.
Now, obviously, not all races need to take place on a circuit. Some, as Tom found out, can take place in a ruddy big hole. It was an off-road shootout that looked like being a bit of a mismatch.
We all know what 4x4s look like. They're robust, square-jawed, big, and this is one of the biggest, the Range Rover. It's 2.5 tons on 20-inch alloys. And this is the smallest one you can buy, the new Fiat Panda 4x4. In comparison to the Rangy, it's like a toy, and just about big enough for real people.
Now, you might think that a four-wheel drive Panda is nothing more than a gimmick. It's a glorified ride-on lawnmower, more suited to trotting across somebody's wet lawn. But you'd be wrong, because this is a feisty little David, ready to slay off-road Goliaths. In fact, it's spoiling for a fight.
According to Fiat, this car can tackle greater changes of slope than the mighty Range Rover.
One of the things about four-wheel drives is the fact that they have these enormous overhangs, and it really limits their off-road performance. Let me demonstrate with my little baby Range Rover here. See, he's trotting around off-road and everything's cool until he tries to get up a slope from the flat. And if you watch, the front end digs in before the front wheels have a chance to get some purchase and drag him up the slope. Same thing happens if he tries to reverse up. Look, overhang, takes away the wheel's grip, and that's it, you're finished. If you look at the Range Rover, we can see it's going to be a problem because even though it's got trick air suspension and an adjustable ride height, it's got a honking great ass.
The Fiat doesn't have either of those hindrances because the wheels are so close to the corners of the car. The short wheelbase also means that you minimise the risk of grounding out when you reach the crest of a peak. And Fiat also claim this car can climb a gradient of 50 degrees. That's 5 degrees better than the Range Rover. To find out whether the Fiat really can walk the walk, we thought we'd put it to the ultimate test. This is Delabole Slate Quarry, the nearest thing we could find to an asteroid strike. As holes go, it's rather big. Over 400 feet deep, in fact. It's amazing what a few picks, shovels, well, and the odd stick of dynamite can do. So which of these two is going to be able to dig their way out first? We'll start each car down here and see which is quickest to the top. First up went the Range Rover to set a benchmark time. It didn't take long to see why it's established itself as the king of off-road, with a low-range gearbox activated at the flick of a switch. Frankly, the overhangs didn't seem to be a problem. It crushes obstacles and sped over the line in just 90 seconds. Time for the Panda. Under £10,000 versus 60. Oh dear. Now the old Fiat Panda 4x4, you remember that really square one, used to be really popular with the police in the Alps because it went places other cars just couldn't get in order to arrest alpine miscreants. And it's still got that kind of mountain goat vibe. It comes with a 1.2-litre 60 horsepower petrol engine. And no, that's not the bottom of the range, that is the range. But you can have 6 airbags, parking sensors, an electric sunroof, climate control and a CD player, just like on the 60 grand Range Rover. This is a real fight between the big boys and the little underdog. But I was a fat kid at school. I know what it means to be the underdog. Come on, Panda! Come on! Normally, the Panda works in front-wheel drive, but if you lose traction, oil heats up in a special differential gearbox. This makes some friction plates expand and rub together, engaging the rear wheels. Et voila! 4-wheel drive. No buttons, no levers, just clever mechanics. Brilliant! The Range Rover might be a bit quieter and a hell of a lot less bouncy. Ooh, crikey. But I actually think that the little Panda is going to be quicker. Now, mainly because it's just flying around. It's so much more manoeuvrable. Ooh, gosh. But then disaster struck. In the incline that the Range Rover crushed, the Panda was found wanting. Small overhangs or not, the Range Rover's trick 4-wheel drive system offers better traction. That last hurdle cost us 10 seconds. And victory. But remember, the Panda cost just over 9 grand. And with its high driving position, nimble handling and roughy-tufty personality, the Panda 4x4 is ideal for tackling the potholed, crater-filled surface, otherwise known as your typical inner-city road.
Ever since Fifth Gear began, there's been one race that we've really wanted to stage. An F1 car against a high-performance road car. But I told the producers it was simply never going to happen. Grand Prix cars cost millions and no team was simply going to hand one over to us and let us play. But then, one day, Williams Grand Prix phoned. They wanted me to race one of their F1 cars against Vicky in a BMW M5. The dream had come true, so we headed for the fastest circuit in Britain, Rockingham.
Evan, honey, I've known you for a long time, and I can sense that you are quite apprehensive about this. I know you've been watching the weather as well a lot.
I have. I've been looking at the 5-day forecast the last 5. Don't rain, don't rain, don't rain. I've been a right tiddly about it all.
Why are you nervous, though?
Well, because I'm to be honoured with driving such a machine. As you know, nobody gets these chances.
No, I know.
So I don't want to put it in the gravel, and I don't want to look slow, and I want to do a good job. And
I know.
But I want to enjoy it. The chance of driving that car.
We're used to seeing F1 cars race against each other, but nobody's ever seen an F1 car race a road car. To really put the performance of Tiff and the Williams into context, we chose another car with a V10 engine, a 7-speed gearbox, and a top speed in excess of 200. I'd be racing Tiff in an M5.
As I climbed aboard, I caught sight of the discreet tribute that every Williams has worn since the great Ayrton Senna died in one of the cars. Another last-minute reminder that this was not an experience to be trifled with.
Okay, 70 miles an hour. I'm in third gear, pulling about 5,500 RPM. I have a Formula One car alongside me. My heart is beating. And goodness knows what Tiff's doing in there. I bet he's having the time of his life.
Oh, this is sensational, doing no speed at all.
Flags up. It's dropped. We're off! Consumes about 3 gears and he's just off like an absolute bullet.
Stunning, stunning, stunning! The corners just go up so quickly. The steering's the best thing, it feels fantastic. The acceleration is violent. Vision gets blurred. Blink, Tiff, blink.
Now we know the M5 is fast, and boy was I trying hard.
I am driving my little heart out.
But incredibly, Tiff was going 30 seconds a lap quicker.
Bit of oversteer, the back wants to step out as he feed in 800 horsepower. I already need the neck brace to rest my neck. Oh, my muscles have gone. Boo, 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 boo.
Tiff was keeping up an average lap speed of 102 miles an hour, while I was giving it everything but could only average 74.
So onto the brakes, big fat brakes, which almost, at this stage now, the pedal is almost going to the floor. Turn in, feed the power in, back end slid a little bit, try and control it, because I love going sideways, don't get me wrong, but when you're in a race with a Formula One car, sideways is not really the way it should go. I wonder where Tiff has got to. Oh, here he comes!
There she is, she's in my sights, the little minx. Oh, oh, oh. And she's smoking tyres. Giving it everything. Hello, Vicky. I'm here. Woohoo! She's on the grass. She's on the loose.
Can you believe it? Well, that's what happens when you see a Formula One car in your rear-view mirror. I fell off the road onto the grass. I bet Tiff will be loving it.
She's doing a fantastic effort, but she's beaten. Oh, she's so beaten.
Oh my goodness, the noise is just so awesome.
I can smell her brakes. I can smell everything. And she's there.
Oh, fantastic. The most awesome, piercing, pure sound. Oh, terrific. Absolutely terrific. That is something I will never forget. Oh, wicked.
Neck muscles have gone, brain's gone. This is unbelievable.
Oh, I'm going to treasure this view forever.
As you can probably tell, I can't speak a lot at the moment because I'm trying to get my brain back inside my body. Oh, thank you.
That was sensational. Oh, it's a stunning experience. Still to come, a very fast Porsche racing a very fast helicopter. Welcome back. We've already seen the ultimate drag test between Michael Schumacher's Ferrari and the mighty Eurofighter. But what if you throw in a few twists and turns? What if you make it a test of high-speed agility? To find some answers, we've come to the Croft racing circuit in North Yorkshire, from where the Canadian Air Force flew Wellington and Lancaster bombers in raids on Germany during World War II. But today, my opposition will be the workhorse of every modern-day Air Force. We've swapped wings for blades because I'm going to race a helicopter. But not any helicopter. I'm going to race one of the fastest and most agile helicopters in the world. It weighs just 1,400 kilos. Its turbine revs to 25,000 RPM. It's got 500 horsepower. This is the 190-mile-an-hour Gazelle.
I am the lightning. I am the spark.
This Anglo-French project first flew over 30 years ago and has been used by the Army, the Navy and the Air Force, both for reconnaissance and as a tank-busting gunship. Available ex-military for about 200 grand. It's the ultimate track day machine for the skies. And to take up the challenge, I'll be driving Porsche's latest 911, which only has 381 horsepower, over 100 less than the Gazelle's, only revs to 8,200 RPM and weighs exactly the same. But as that little badge under the rear wing tells you, this is no ordinary 911. It's the all-new track-honed GT3 with uprated brakes, stiffened suspension, titanium conrods, a close-ratio gearbox and more downforce. At a roll cage, hip-hugging seats, and right here, right now, it's the ultimate track day car. But enough of the showboating. A quick lap time requires a different approach. To get the most out of a car on a track, you need to be as gentle with it as you can. Find that smooth racing line. And then be as progressive as possible with all the three major controls, whether it's the brakes, the steering, or the throttle. By contrast, the complexities of driving a helicopter would baffle the everyday motorist. Ex-RAF pilot Steve Unsworth will have to worry about altitude, airspeed, wind direction, rotor pitch, rotor revs, yaw, telegraph poles, and the simple fact that all helicopters are inherently unstable. If you released all the controls of a car, you'd simply coast to a halt. Release all of the controls in a helicopter for just 3 seconds, and you'd plummet into the ground. Just going in a straight line is a major test of skill, so flying around a circuit is going to be an amazing feat of aeronautical agility. After a brief warming of tyres and turbines, it was off to a rolling start. And the race is on. And he's getting away from me down to the first corner.
Corner coming up, rolling in, looking right. Applying the power, the wind's picking me up.
I need to be neat and tidy, try to pull him back through this second corner, Hawthorne. Don't get too sideways. But I've got this chicane. I need to lift. And he's got ahead of me. But now he's into the wind. And we're reeling him in. 120, 125. We're back underneath him. Don't get too much oversteer, Tiff. Jim Clark S's a little left and right, but I need to lift. 110 miles an hour. Braking now for this double right-hander of Sonny.
Applying the power as we go round, skidding out, almost stopping as we turn into the wind.
On the dirt! Now he's into the wind. Just the complex to survive. Lost him. Whoa! He nearly lost it there.
That's it, overcooked that one.
First gear, hope I've lost too much time.
Tight, hard left.
He's there. But he's got the wind behind him. He's catching. But... and we finished a win. That was close. I nearly lost it on the last corner. But we did enough to beat the helicopter.
And we'll have all the latest motoring news and features in a brand new series of Fifth Gear, which begins next Monday night at 8. And we'll have details of that coming up in just a sec.